Anything I missed that you feel like should be talked about?
No, nope, you did it. You took all them notes and you finally did a great synopsis of the stuff. Yeah, you beat me to it because I was just ready to give you a clap. But yeah, you did it
Yeah. Celebrate.
finally.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. And I mean back to Herbal Synergies, the shop. I'm your host, Sinji. With me, as always, Irby.
What's up, peoples?
You know, if you can somehow cut the rest of that horn off, it
It,
probably
it
wouldn't
would
be
it,
bad.
it would have slapped, but couldn't do it.
It's got to finish, yeah.
Yeah, always got to finish, baby.
Understandable. You know what's something we haven't done in a while?
What?
A flavor of the week.
I do flavor every time.
We haven't done it in 2 weeks.
Doesn't mean I didn't have a flavor.
You right, you right. I was just being funny.
Well, don't quit your day job, sir.
I wish I could, man.
Yeah, yeah. Don't quit it, because that joke was, yeah. All right. So, what's your flavor, sir? Get into it.
Oh, mine's just coming from Teenage Mercenary, and we're getting a little bit of flashback on Agent's how he became mercenary Jin, and like this village kind of nursed him back to health, a village of mercenaries. And while the main group was out, I guess, doing a mission, they got raided by another camp. And like this girl asked Agent to like save her mother, whatever. My man decided to like save the whole village. So he took out two people, pretended to be a hostage, and like took the main guy hostage. And the main guy was like, well, even if you could kill me, they're not going to let you go and they're going to kill everyone in the process. So how about this? Why don't you let me go and I'll take you under my wing and train you? You're obviously talented for a kid, so you have the potential to be the best. And you know what my man did after he made that offer, Irby?
What?
He just killed everyone there.
Everyone
Besides
in
the
the whole
Hodgeses.
village?
Besides the Hodgeses. All the attackers. He killed all the attackers.
I was like, dang, he killed everybody.
Without moving, using a single gun. I think he used a single clip. He killed everyone there.
I was like, why? I was like, how he went to save the folks, but he ended up killing them. I was like, dang, that's crazy.
That was that was my flavor. That was determined way early on it would be my flavor of the
Was it
week.
though?
It was.
I'm not too sure.
Man's a badass, bro. You should read it.
I might read it. I might
There's no
not.
bullying.
I might give it a shot.
I'm reading a lot of good things right now.
Mm, yeah, that's nice for you, sir.
What's your
Glad
flavor?
you glad you can read. Um, I do. That wasn't even a joke, my guy. I'm just saying, as busy as you are, I'm glad you can read. But Ashclad showed some promise, or not promise, but yeah, he showed
A little bit of
fighting
his
prowess.
yeah, he
Yeah,
showed a little bit of his actual capability.
I was like, oh, look at you go. But yeah, I did have spots in Jiu-Jitsu that I liked how they set the stuff up there. But that Boruto boy, let me tell you, I was kind of I was like, oh snap, that's the movie he's doing. I was wondering what it was. But yeah, Boruto and Askeladd took the cake this time. And so, and with that being said, we're going to launch into the
Yes.
legendary hero uh is dead. Season 1 episode 8. A student. So the hero is a student. So Yeah, the episode starts. They fall into like a trap, and they survive because Toka changed the sword's form into like something that could be soft and cushion their pitfalls. And the text still continues. And my girl Mila, she runs out to the forest to fight the folks, and they kind of just make her clothes just disappear. I'm like, oh man, that's wild, crazy. It wasn't really called for, but they did anyway. Um, and then they start text starts, and Marguerite she gets stabbed. They all get stabbed. They get stabbed like clockwork. Then we find out that the cloak, the fog that they're in, can cloak people and things as long as the caster chooses to cloak them or not. And I'm like, oh man, that's going to be challenging to fight someone in. So they go down. I'm like, oh man, they're all dead. Toka holds up the sword, and she's like, oh, just put me. He's like, I'll give you the sword if you just let me live, please. And the caster comes down and tries to talk to Toka because they want the sword. But it turns out it was all a big old plan. He, after he gives up the sword for exchange for his life that draws out the misuser, that everyone like springs back to life, and it was all sorts of necromancy from Henri because they killed the first devil, and she just necromanced the bodies of everyone else that they killed until she
Mm-hmm.
came out. And I was like, oh man, that was smart. Like I didn't even see that. And so I thought it was cool too how he was like, yeah, we used certain juice for this plant for the blood. I was like, oh man, they got stabbed, they're just bleeding out, but it's all part of the plan. So then the trap lady comes out, and it turns out it's Toka's master, and her name is Ethel Bordnight, which is I think is kind of interesting because when you think of like a board, they think about playing games. Like if you maneuver certain pieces in certain places, people could fall into your trap if they're
Mm-hmm.
not if they're not knowledgeable. Which I was like, oh man, that suits her. But also, how did he not recognize his master when she was talking to him? And like the whole thing, Toka used those magic stones to see the folks and see things, see where she was. It's like how you use the stones but not look at her. I'm
I
like,
guess it's been a while. It could be a plot hole.
she looked the same in the flashback. So I mean, like she ain't changed. So I'm like, stop it. But yeah, so yeah. Then we get his history explained and how he was taken away and he came back and the teacher like helped him and like he fell into his traps and she basically taught him everything she knows and only he wanted to go back the same way she was going because she was going back the way he needed to go to get back to his hometown. And she's like, "Oh no, you don't want to follow me. I'm an evil person. I do this, that, and the other." And he's like, "I don't care. I just want to get back." And so she resigns to her fate to take on an apprentice to get him back to his homeland. And Toka gets her to surrender because she's outmaneuvered and she doesn't have any devils working for her anymore. She can't do this, that, and the other. And he's like, "Oh, since you're my prisoner, you have to do what I say and be in this body in the bondage and this all sorts of stuff." And puts her in a pretty provocative outfit. I'm like, really? That's crazy.
Was that necessary?
It wasn't. Yeah, so she talks to the group, and tells them that she decided to help the devils after she saw what the gates of hell had and what the devils and people were going through. And they talk about going to the legendary blacksmith to get the carriage fixed because they need the magical carriage fixed so they can get to where they're going before the time runs out to save everybody. The blacksmith is Shion's grandfather, which I was like, oh, okay. He's like blind, I guess. So he also is pouring liquid tea all over the people because he can't see their faces. And then they start chatting about everything, and Marguerite's like, "Oh, she's gonna learn how to fix a magical carriage, reading the books volumes because she's a fast reader." And let's see. Oh, and then we get to the fact that Yuna, she wo- she won not Yuna's sister Millie. She won a tournament for a legendary sword. That's how she got hers. So, this is my thought thinking here. I was like, so is it you get because you wield a legendary item, you get called a legendary hero?
That's seemed to be the case on how she was making it sound.
So I'm just like, yeah, I'm like, huh? So you get a legendary hero because you got the weapon.
But
So
they did confirm like it's not as potent, right? Because like it's a man-made legendary.
yeah, but I feel like even though it might not be potent, it could still be strong enough to slay a devil in the right hands.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my 2 cents on it. I was like, oh man, that's crazy. So then she wants to fight Toka for their future marriage, but it was just really a ruse because she wanted to make sure that he would save her sister. And yeah, she was because you, I guess when the Devils attacked years ago, Toka had put up a bunch of traps to slow him down, and that allowed the legendary hero to get there
It was
to
actually him
yeah
that like if
technically
he didn't,
save the village.
yeah, if he didn't intervene, it probably would have been done.
Yeah, slowed him up enough to save him, and then my man Toka's like, oh well, I gotta go drop some kids off at the swimming pool because I've been holding this in for a while. And he starts putting on stock is on Yuna, and then a finger pokes him in the head. And episode ends. I'm like, oh no! It's like, what is this? So I was kind of excited about that. I was like, oh, the cliffhanger, hanging off the cliff. So yeah,
Hanging off the cliff.
that's what it is. Yeah, that's literally how it came through. Uh, have you heard that story? I think I told it on here before. I'm not
On
sure.
how cliffhanger became a saying.
Yeah,
You know what? What's interesting about you saying that is I kind of feel like I remember talking about this before.
yeah, I probably said it. Well, short synopsis: a man wrote a book about a guy, and the last page of the book, I guess whatever he was getting into, he ended up hanging off a cliff, and then he just left the book at that, and so they called it a cliffhanger. So
Well, it's a simple origin story.
yeah, I didn't want to get too much into it because said it before, but simple.
Yeah.
At least that's one piece of literature that I read about that said that. So
Oh, you can read.
no, I just watch stuff and have stuff read to me. There's a simple function you can use on your device that says read aloud. And so that's what I do.
I don't think that works for everything we.
It does.
I don't know. Can you have the function in your phone read a shonen manga?
You can.
Oh,
Just how much you know, my guy.
yeah. I don't know much.
Yeah, it's evident.
I'd probably know how to do that if I knew how to read.
Mm-hmm. But continue, sir. Anything I missed that you want to say?
Nah. I think you got it.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything out of the ordinary.
Mm. Well, then, I did a great synopsis for it.
As always, a
Yeah. So,
round of applause for Irby for his wonderful synopsis.
make that clap. But
Now
yeah.
we're just getting started. So since I got like I don't have a second show, I'm just gonna tell all our wonderful listeners about my experience listening to Jobless Reincarnate, and I'm on volume 3, and so far, now bear in mind I haven't consumed this content nearly as much as I have Solo Leveling. So if there are minor differences or major differences, I don't know them. I haven't noticed them. It's to me personally, so far without me rewatching the anime, I actually do want to pick up the manga because I just don't want to wait. I haven't noticed anything different between the the light novel, and the anime. And as you guys know, this is a typically a 3 stage thing. I would say normally it goes if there is a light novel, normally it goes light novel, manga, then anime. If there was a pattern to this, because it all goes by how much work things are going to take. It's going to be faster to finish a light novel. It's going to be um compared to a manga. It's going to be faster to finish a manga compared to a anime series. So like that should be order it goes in. So for me saying that the light novel and the anime are almost a mirror image of what I remember to each other, I have a feeling that the manga doesn't stray far from the light novel at all. If it even does. Just for the people who were curious.
They weren't.
Oh, I got the perfect sound for that. Well, Herbie, do
Yeah.
you want to carry on with some maybe jujutsu?
Yeah. So Jujutsu Kaisen 242. So Kenjaku summons an Akuru Otaki. He's a special grade creature. And then it gets hit by Truck Kun, which is funny because that's Takaba's special ability. And so they launch into like a little comedy bit. Uh, it, like, oh, you were drunk driving, whatever. So it's like basically just running through like bad TV show setups.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh, blow into his bag, and if you killed a fish, then uh then you're going to jail. But the fish would look like it was already dying. So then they rush it to a hospital. I'm like, oh my goodness, what's going on? And so then this is where Kajaku he starts figuring out Takuma's power, and he's like, oh, so his power compels me to participate in his shenanigans, and it manifests things, and also integrates his own thoughts as feedback. And so then it ends up on a game show. I'm like, oh man, game show. And Ghetto's having fun. And then we get to the next chapter, 243, Foolish Survivor, laughing it up. They do a stand-up bit, which throwing jokes, doing stuff, and it was kind of just another long thing about that. And the name is Pichon, but the names are Pinch and Chance is the duo they're going by. And Kenjaku's going hunting, demon hunting, and for some reason he turned into like a cat, and they were going back and forth being cats. It's like, oh, this is for that. And he's like, oh, I gotta save the cat. So yeah, interesting. But Takuba's job was just to distract Kenjaku long enough for Okatsu Oketsu to come up and slice off his neck. And he said, Kenjaku said, "Oh, there's so much left undone, but it's like my will carry on." I'm like, "Ooh, okay. Does he have offspring? Like, what's going on? Like, is he gonna be able to reincarnate somewhere? Because doesn't he just like take his brain and put it into other people's bodies? I don't know."
Um, and that's why he has a scar across his forehead. I think so.
Yeah,
I think the what do you call it again? It's not a demon. What is it?
curse object,
I
curse
think
technique.
yeah, I think the curse itself is the brain.
Yeah, I don't know, but hopefully they got it. And then so we get to 244, the Inhuman Makayo Shinjaku Showdown Part 16. They're discussing strategies on how to defeat Sukuna, and one thought and one thing that they said was interesting because the judge guy puts people on trials. They want to use him for the judgment, just because his ability can take Sukuna's curse energy, seal it, or give him certain things he has to abide by. So I thought it was interesting here. It said one of Sukuna's crime was killing two user high school girls, curse user high school girls. I was like, who are the two? So I'm like, is this confirmed that what's the redhead girl's name? I forget. Nail girl.
Nabara or something like that.
Yeah, Nabarro. Is she dead? Cause I know they burnt the other girl up. And I was like, so is those two?
I
Or is it like two other ones?
I keep thinking like possibly there's a chance that she's not dead because like it doesn't feel like we gave it enough time attention after it happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It
So
kind of just was like, oh yeah, she's hurt, but they never went back to it.
so she might be looking like
Maki.
nah Maki not Maki. I was thinking that one Two Face from Batman.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so Maki's sister also died too. Um, I can't remember if Suguna killed her or not. I don't think he did.
Hmm.
But yeah, so they talk more about the judge's skills, and then they start to fight in Sukuna and domain expansion. Deadly Sentence shows up, and we find out that Yuji had an idea to try Sukuna as a co-defendant in his own trial, in which he confessed to murdering all those folks. So we gotta wait to see what happens there.
It's an interesting theory.
It is. I'm excited to see where it goes to from now.
Mm-hmm. So am I.
Are you though?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's get into some Vinland then.
Okay, villain. Let me get my handy. Yo, I wrote so many notes on villain. I damn near filled the page.
There wasn't that much to talk about, really.
I was excited.
Yeah, you were just excited.
Okay. All right. You ready? I'm ready. You ready?
No, I'm not ready.
I'm waiting.
Yeah, wait for me. It's your show, my guy.
It's our show. Oh,
I
you meant
picked
villain.
Vinland.
Okay, my bad.
You picked Vinland.
You meant villain. Okay. Listen. All right. Villain Saga, episode 17. Servant. Askeladd told the traders there's no need to put on a show for Thorko. Just go join him. And one of the only people I recognized told Askeladd that what Thorko wants is the prince, and also said that he doesn't want to kill Askeladd, so leave without the prince. We end up looking at a flashback, and it looked like Askeladd was taking care of his sickly mother, who was talking about like him having to serve the true king and waiting for Avalon to come back, something like that. Is that
The guy's name was Lord. His name Lord something. I just had it. But
it?
yeah,
It
but
wasn't Lord
Avalon's a
Avalon.
place where you can. Uh, Lord Artorias, and he's from Avalon.
Full page of notes, and I useless.
Hey, you gotta work on your notes taking, baby.
Yeah, well, I just watched it. I bet I don't even need all these notes. I can just right now. So the flashback with Askeladd and his mom. It looks like he's taking care of his sickly mom, and you know, the guys. They Askeladd goes like, "I'll just be on my way," and it's like, "No, nah, can't do that." So then Asa goes, "Can I just say one more thing to you guys?" And he was like, "There's no point." And it was just he called them worthless Danes and said he's pretty much hated them for a while now. And as soon as he said that, my man cut off two people's heads in one stroke of his sword.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Thus began the bloodshed. Askeladd went on offensive. He was attacking. The leader of the traders um, told them to get Prince Canute, and Askeladd gave Thorfinn the signal to like defend Canute. So about 6 or 12 throwing knives later, there were 12 less people, which actually makes Askeladd's efforts later on kind of a little less impressive because I feel like Thorfinn took care of a good at least 8 of them.
But there were still 50 of them, so
There was still 50 of them, but he wasn't dealing with 50 of them.
yeah, he was. No, just go ahead.
Yeah,
We'll get to that part later.
I mean, no, go ahead now. It's playful
Can
banter.
I?
I feel like
Can
I
I just?
go ahead.
Yeah, because I was just going to say that it was like he wasn't trying to kill the folks because he was like, oh, I got to just look for a way to escape. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
just buying time. So it was like,
Yeah, he was looking for an opening to get away before Thorkill showed up.
yeah. So that's why I was like, Thorfinn was full out trying to kill. He was just trying to maim him enough so that they wouldn't get back up to fight him, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so man, we're actually gonna get to that pretty quickly. So, um, after Thorfinn threw his knives, Bjorn got the sled moving and they went and tried to escape. About he said 10, so 10 guys went chasing after them, and Aska was still fighting, and taking down people. Thorkill, they were trying. He couldn't see, but like he could tell, like it looked like fighting started, and one of the guys, it looks like his right hand man, um, said, "This often happens when two parties in this situation." And Thorko got like really upset and started running towards him. I was like, "Nah, they can't start fighting without me."
Yeah.
So, um, we go back over to Bjorn, who's like riding the horse, and the guys on the horses catch up obviously because those horses aren't pulling as much weight, and they're trying to talk Bjorn into betraying Askeladd, but like the other guy realizes like that's not gonna happen, and Bjorn's like telling Thorfinn like, "Yo, throw your throwing knives." Like, I've ran out. At this point, I kind of thought Thorfinn was gonna be jumping from horse to horse, kind of trying to take him out, but he didn't do that. What did happen once they gave up on trying to get Bjorn to betray Askeladd was, dude, without hesitation, killed, like, put an axe through a horse's head, and the horse died. Other horse fell, cart flipped over, and Thorfinn, in a very cool way, kept this wit about him, used the cart that was above him to propel himself forward, well, downward, towards one of the guys on a horse, kicked him in the face, and took his horse. And I thought he was gonna go on like a quick killing spree, but like I guess it was Bjorn that he was with, so he didn't need to. No, he went straight towards Askeladd. Um, Bjorn lifts us up the cart, the the sled off of him, and he eats the berserk mushroom for the second time that we've seen. My man's averaging once a season with that mushroom. And after he ate it, he told them all to come at him.
Actually, twice a season.
Twice he ate it before the season.
Well, no, he. If you are you referring to season as in the season one of Vinland?
Are
Are you
we
talking about?
are we not on
you-
season two? No, we're not on season two.
Yeah.
Oh my god, there's still a season two. I'm so excited. Okay, twice this season, he's averaging once one and a half,
Two.
one and a half, half
It's
the
two.
season. The first half season, second half season.
there's still you don't quantify. It's still
Let me
one
do
season.
it. leave it. Leave it be.
You'd be better off saying he's averaging one per every 12 episodes if that's the route you really want to go.
Screw it. Let's make it an NBA stat. He's averaging one in every 12 episodes.
Yeah, because it's still two a season, no matter how you slice it.
A new record. Oh my god. I don't want to get sidetracked. I was about to make a comment on the NBA and their ridiculous records.
Mm-mm.
Um, so he tells them all to come at him at once. And all right, so we go back to Askeladd, who's looking worn out. You know, he's bleeding over from his forehead, and the numbers are catching up to him. He's actually like pitying himself a little bit, or like being disappointed in himself, saying like, "Ah, it sucks getting node. Who would have thought I'd be struggling against just 50 men?" It's like, I mean, granted,
50
Thor's.
men now.
Yeah, I was like, granted, Thor's didn't really struggle against you guys until they had
Shot
a
him full of arrows and hostages.
yeah until you had a hostage. But listen, I'd be willing to bet most men would struggle against 50 men. There's
Yeah.
just these weirdos, and like he's fighting the crew, like he's defending himself. He's thinking to himself he needs to find an opening, and then one guy he slipped an axe and got him a little bit in the back, and I'll tell you, Askeladd flipped. Switch flipped for a quick second. He split the dude in half, cutting right through the helmet. And you can tell, like, it put like some fear into everyone. And he apologized, like, I'm sorry, I lost my temper, but it won't happen again. Let's continue where we left off. But like, dudes were like, nah, I ain't getting near that, bro. This dude, my axe can't do that. This man just cleaved this man in half through the helmet. So they whipped out the arrows and aimed it at him, and that's when Asta had started talking to Tormjin or something like that,
Yeah.
and told him, "It's like, hey, listen, you need me alive. You can't kill me because you need to get the prince, and Bajorn's not gonna trade with you if I'm dead." And honestly, the prince is with Bajorn and Thorfinn, which are more than capable of handling you guys as well. So, like, your best bet is to take me as a hostage. After a little thinking it over, Torm Jin, or whatever his name is, said just take out his legs. Askeladd, as soon as the arrows flew, went diving. He got hit about 4 or 5 times in the leg and once in the arm that had the sword. The leader of the traders walked up to him and asked him, like, this isn't like you. Why are you so desperate to, like, do this futile fight? And he goes, I'm getting old. It's something. It if I don't do something now, it'll be too late to serve Avalon or something like that.
Yep.
So Thorfinn sees Askeladd on his, like, leaning on his sword, barely look like he's getting through, and like he loses his mind and starts screaming and running down there with the horse. Leader of the traders gives the okay to kill Askeladd, but like as soon as he did, it got silent. The two guys to his left fell. Well, surprise, surprise, Thorkill showed up, and all of the traders put their weapons down and tried. The leader of them, Tormjin, tried to talk to Thorkill, but like he was very. You could tell he was nervous. He was intimidated. Couldn't really get a confident sentence out, and was telling Thorkill that he would get the prince. Don't worry, promise we're gonna get the prince. And Thorkill went up to Askeladd because he knew right away it was Askeladd. And it's like, you look like you're smart. And after their brief exchange, he told his men, leave Askeladd alive, kill the rest. So they surround the guys with the spears, and like all of the traders are like in shock. Which to me, it's like, okay, I'm like, I get the plot here. I knew Thorkill was probably gonna kill you guys because of the last group of traders he ran into. He killed right away. But like, just because you guys lost faith in Askeladd suddenly made you pussies? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like they were fighting with the king's army, they were pillaging villages, they have fighting experience. Like if you were gonna die regardless, why so scared to pick up the weapon? But like I guess it is what it is. I guess they didn't feel like they were gonna die under Askeladd's watch, and now that they lost faith in him, they thought dying was a possibility. So the Tormjin or whatever his name is, after like the fighting commenced, actually Thorkill's right hand man told them like, "You pick up your weapons, at least die as warriors, and you'll be allowed into Valhalla. Don't die pathetic." So like afraid and with hesitation, they all picked up their arms and they started dying.
I gotta go out swinging.
Yeah, hey, listen, if you're gonna go down anyway, go down with a fight. Maybe take the other guy
I
with you.
will just swinging.
So Tormjin approaches Thorkill and is like, "Why? We can get Prince Canute, or like without us, you won't be able to get Prince Canute." And Thor was like, I'll just get him myself. So tells him he goes and grabs his axe and gives it to him. It tells him to die fighting. You're gonna die regardless. Die fighting. And Thorko put so much like intimidation onto the dude that like he went comatose. Like he went brain dead. He just stood there, no life in his eyes, drooling. It was no good. For some reason, I thought Thorfinn was gonna come in and just kill him, but no. Thorfinn comes in later on, horse kicking people randomly, left, right, left, right, left, right. He's approaching Thorkill, and Thorkill, really happy to see Thorfinn, by the way, just backs up a fist, and my man just uppercut the horse in his chest. He probably killed it. He honestly killed the thing.
Yeah, I was like, my man just punched a horse.
Yo, he uppercutted it. It got lifted into the air,
A
and it's a
horse?
100% dead. But Thorfinn, although shocked, he just did a backflip and landed on his feet, and he started screaming. He's just like, "Askeladd is mine. He's my catch. You can't have him. If you touch him, I'll kill you." And of course, Thorkill, who's been obsessed with Thorfinn since he found out he was Thor's son and like cut off his finger, was like, "Oh, you want to fight for this? Then let's fight for this. Everyone's a witness here. It's me versus Thorfinn for Askeladd. Let's do this."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for next episode.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I was like, oh man, whew, did some stuff. Ass glad.
Anything I missed that you feel like should be talked about?
No, nope, you did it. You took all them notes and you finally did a great synopsis of the stuff. Yeah, you beat me to it because I was just going to give you a clap. But yeah, you did it.
Yeah,
Finally.
celebrate. Yeah. Moving
Very
on.
well put together. I give you a 96.
What, I not spell my name right? At the 96?
Well,
Jeez.
there's a little bit of room for improvement, but you did great, kid. You did great. So we are on to Reign of the Seven Spellblades.
Fuck you.
Why are you so mad, bro?
Is that 96? Go continue.
Yeah. So what is it? Reign of the Seven Spellblades, episode 10, or episode, yeah, one episode 10, right?
Um,
Master and Knight.
I believe so.
So the crew's sleeping in the new digs and the new place. And they're like, oh yeah, we're sleeping real well. And then we flash to Stace. She's getting ready to make her way there to fight Shelly and the crew. And so they get up the next day or whenever, or there might have been later, like after they woke up. Oliver and the now are training, and he asks her, hey, have you been able to use that spell again? And she's like, I haven't been able to use that spell again. So he's like, all right, well, we're going to work on using spells today. because we need to learn how to fight without weapons. Use spells. Because I guess he already knows she's adept with a blade, and he's passable with the blade himself.
Mm-hmm.
So he's training her to work on spells so she can get stronger. And she's like, "Oh, I don't want to use spells. Want to cross blades." And then he proceeds to explain to her the uses of spells, like why they should be used. And she's like, "You lit a fire under me. Now I want to train." So now she does. And the training starts. And they hear a scream, and we're like, "Oh, let's go check it out." And my man, what's his name? Gary? Or let's see, what was his name? I forget his name. Guy. It was Guy, not Gary.
Guy Sensei.
Yeah, Guy screaming, and there's a troll there, and it's Katie's troll. She's like, "Yeah, he was supposed to be coming today, so I went and got him." And they're like, "You went out by yourself?" And she was like, "I didn't have to go far. I knew he was coming here." And Milligan brought the troll there, and I was like, "Oh snap! Evil genius lady, she's back." So,
Yeah.
and then we flash to Pete, and he's sleeping. He's like, "Oh, where's my glasses?" And the hand hands him the glasses. He's like, "Thanks." And it's the thing, and it scurries back on to Milligan, and she's like, "Oh, yeah, I turned this hand into a sentient being. Call it Millie Hand or Milligan's hand, but Millie Hand for short." I was like, interesting. So does she not have a hand anymore? Because I couldn't really get a good look at it. Did you
She
see?
does have a hand, but I guess she just decided to keep that one off.
Yeah, cause well, I saw she had a right hand, but I'm like, I couldn't see her left hand.
I'm pretty sure I remember seeing a left hand because that
Mm,
was something I
okay.
thought about too. Like, why would you go through the trouble of bringing that thing and just attach it with magic if you can? But I saw another hand, so I guess she just. I guess it'd be more convenient for her to have both hands free, and then that thing, even like it seems like it still responds to her will. So now it's kind of free to be used, and both of her hands are free. But wasn't her eye the same way?
Yeah, she had the eye and she had one in her hand,
Mm-hmm.
but the hand got cut. But yeah. So anyhow, so the troll, his name's Marco, and they're like, "Why'd you give us a workshop?" She's like, "Oh, because I consider it an investment into Katie's future as a magical crusader for the creatures that they just treat terribly." And so they start exploring the second floor, but apparently the second floor is really dangerous for first years, so they don't want to go to the second floor. And Strauss shows up, and she's like, "Oh, I'll challenge you all to a 2-on-2." And then the student Albright shows up, not to be confused with All Might.
Get out
Yeah,
of here.
he shows up, and they're like, "Yeah, well, I'll make a 3-on-3." And he starts attacking Oliver, saying he's weak and this, that, and the other. And Shelly was getting all mad, and I'm like, "Oh man, well, this is gonna be a good fight." So so then they're like, "All right, let's do it. We'll agree." So they go to the second arena to fight, and all Albright wants to do, he wants to fight Nanau because she has the sword skills that he's looking to test out. After he fought the other kid and whooped him pretty handedly. So yeah, it was not Richards. Who was that? Try to, is it? No, it's not Godfrey. Yeah, I can't think of the kid's name. Uh,
No worries.
but yeah, Rosie, I think that's his name. So then they want to fight. He wants to fight now. He's like, "Oh, we're going to use half lethality spells," and so they start fighting. Oliver's like, "Nope, you're going to fight me instead." And he starts whooping on Oliver. He's like, "Oh, Rosie had." potential. You don't have potential. You just do stuff by the book. I'm like, oh man, here he goes killing again. And so Oliver comes up with like a tactic, and he saw through it, and that's when he said that. And now starts chasing out Faye, the other part of Stacy's group or Stas's group. And fun fact, Faye's a werewolf.
Mm-hmm.
So then they get the backstory because they start losing, and apparently he was just like left out, and her father's like, "Oh, I'm just going to kill him." She's like, "No, father, I'm looking for a servant." And so he's her servant, and he saves her. And he turns into a wolf-like creature, starts fighting Shelly and the Now, and Shelly's like, "Hey, we need to stop the fight because he was a human, and they let them humans into the special classes, but uh, yeah, I could try to think how she prefaced it, but she's like, yeah, he's not full blooded, so there's also other problems that comes through with him transforming. It's like he's in a lot of pain to do this, and you're just allowing that, and I was like, hey, just fight him because I already thought about this, and that was part of the plan. So we just gonna fight him and give it our all because that'd be disingenuous not to fight him that
Mm-hmm.
way. So they fight, and it cuts over and ends. So stop the fight mid-fight, which I guess I don't mind as much because they did give us a little taste of the fight. Got us hooked for next week. So
It's gonna be a banger.
might be a banger. Yeah. So you read Boruto, right?
I did read Boruto.
Shh, buddy, let's get into Boruto. Wrap the steak on up.
Let's do it. You go. You probably took better notes and remember it better.
So the thing that got me at the beginning is my boy Boruto. He's talking to his frog. He's like, "Hold on, I'm not as adept at this as a grandpa was." I was like, "Grandpa." I was like, "Oh, Lord Fourth," and he uses the flying Raijin jutsu. It's like, "Oh
But
man, my boy."
but I thought the last episode ended with him using it.
No, it ended with him holding his fingers up.
Huh.
Yeah, he was just holding them up, and I was like, "Oh man, I can't wait to see what he's about to do with the jutsu." Because I thought he was going to do like a Sasuke Rinnegan transformation or something when he uses that power, or he uses the eye to let him see that Neo creature.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
I can't wait to get to the end. You get to the end of this chapter.
yeah, the end of the chat, I was like, oh man. But so he gets to the divine tree, but the divine tree is like no longer there because the frog was keeping tabs on it, but he didn't get it. It turns out the tree took over Bug's body, and they all start becoming like sentient, and it ends up being like 3 or 4 people that it turns to. I think it's 4 people
Mm-hmm.
that they take the likeness of. Which, oh, did you also notice that Code had his left eye gouged out and Boruto's right eye is gouged out? So like together to make one perfect set of eyes.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, so I was like, that's weird because the way they were positioned, like they were able to see the full force of things. Because the blind spot was in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so he
But isn't Boruto's eye fine when he's using the Atsuki form?
I have no idea. It might be. You haven't seen it yet.
Hmm.
But yeah, so I was like, oh man. So we'll see what that's about. And so they are self-aware now, and Code kind of just like dips out. He's like, "Hey, well, Boruto released the jutsu off of Code so that he could
Yep.
help fight him because he
Yep.
wanted him to help them, or else I'll be dead." So he released the jutsu, And Code's like, all right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and head out. And so he flees, and they start attacking Boruto. And I thought one, I was like, that kind of looks like Sasuke, the hood on. And I was like, that's weird. And the guy gives like a thing, an overview. He's like, oh yeah, chakra and this being for people. And he's like, oh yeah, we have a thirst for knowledge now, and this, that, and the other. And I was like, okay, that's great, guy. And the Toad tells Boruto that they need to leave, and he's like, okay. So they leave, and we get the copy of Jiraiya talking to Boruto. He's like, yeah, this, that, and the other is a little hasty, whatever. And he's like, I'm sorry. And he's like, I'm sorry, master. You're gonna have to wait a little bit longer. And Sasuke's stuck in the tree.
He's in a tree. I was like, no.
I was like, how Sasuke of all people gets stuck in a tree?
It's like I thought you were doing Sasuke things, of not raising your daughter and shit like that.
Yeah, he was stuck in the tree.
Oh man. Well,
Yeah,
it is what it is. Can't wait to
yeah.
see him get out of the tree. Anything else you want to talk about, Irby?
No, that was it.
That's it for me as well.
Yeah.
Uh,
So go ahead and wrap this thing on up.
I'm going to wrap this up. Guys, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you. You're all way too kind. If you enjoy, like, comment, share, and we'll catch you next time. Someone get that duck. Peace!
Peace.